Hi, you guys. Dave Man Max 6 from Muscle Insider, and it's B-Bill by Broser. Eric, where are we today?
Well, as you can see, we are at Six Pack Gym, another one of our favorite haunts here in LA, owned by our buddy Sia. This is a great gym out here, a little outdoor place turned, I think it was a gas station or something that it turned into a gym. So we love to come down here every once in a while, give the place a little bit of love. Plus, it's all fresh outdoor air. It feels great today. It's like 62 degrees, great to train in. So
we get the whole gym to ourselves today. It's like our own private room.
I know, it was our own private gym today, so it was a lot of fun. We were able to throw weights around. Nobody can complain. Nah, we took care of a place. Sia, don't worry.
He came a little bit earlier, but he had to go. So,
but yeah, so we're here. We did a little training today and doing our B-Bill by Broser today from here.
All right. So what do you got on the program today?
Well, today we're going to talk a little bit about shoulders. I want to get into a little bit of detail work, maybe some different exercises to work the shoulders. The areas that I'm going to focus on today is more like the front delt. Now, a lot of people think, oh, their front delts, always just get hit from presses and they don't have to focus on front delts. But I see a lot of guys out there, and it's myself included, who have very, very well-built chests, and their front delt kind of gets like buried under the chest. They don't really have that nice roundness in front like they may have on the side. So I want to show you could build that roundness in front so it doesn't get overpowered by the chest. Also, I'm going to show you an interesting side lateral type movement, which kind of ties in the deltoids and the traps a little bit. So we're talking about finer details. This is more like for competitors and people who have to really etch in the details of the physique and have that 3D effect. So we're going to show those exercises today, and then of course got a little question that I want to answer that I've been getting since the last B-Bill by Broser show that I want to address this week, and we're going to talk a little bit about that right here at Six Pack.
All right.
Okay, so the first exercise that I want to show you today is a play on a seated dumbbell press. Now, first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing this unilaterally, or one arm at a time, because it works better doing it this way, the way we want to isolate the anterior deltoid. When you do shoulder presses, normally, obviously, you do them with the arms out this way, so they're adducted out this way. And when you do that, yes, you are hitting the front shoulders, but you're also engaging the side shoulders. So I want to do this in a way where you're really isolating as best as possible the anterior deltoid. And I found this exercise playing around with angles a little bit, and this really puts a direct hit right here on the anterior deltoid to build that fullness in the part of the muscle right there. First thing you want to do is you want to sit down. Now, I should point out that we're doing this with a dumbbell today. If you have a machine at your gym, a seated press machine that has both the handles on the outside and the inside, I really like doing this with the inside handle because you can control the movement a little bit better. We don't have that here today, so we're going to do it with a dumbbell.
It's actually good that we won't be able to do both.
Yeah, and you could switch off between the two. They're both excellent ways of doing it. I just prefer the machine to isolate a little bit better, but if you don't have it, this is just as good. So you're going to be grabbing your dumbbell. Just going to demonstrate today with the 25. I would say, first of all, you're doing it unilaterally, so you're going to be going a little bit lighter than you normally would. But with this movement, you would also go even lighter than you normally would pressing normally. So try to go, medium weight in the beginning, and as you get strong, you can go heavier, but get the movement down first. So what we're going to be doing is bringing the dumbbell up. Now, you're not going to be pressing out here like you would with a normal press. You're going to be pressing from in here. What you want to do is you want to lean your body into the dumbbell. And you want to really get that anterior deltoid even with the dumbbell. Dave can show you how it's even right there, and you want to get under it. Right from here, you're going to press straight up. And as you can see, I am not locking out at the top. If I lock out at the top, I'm going to be using too much tricep. You want to keep the tension. And if you put your fingers right on the anterior deltoid and you push up here, you can feel how all the tension is right on the front of the delt. So here's your movement. The elbow stays tucked in, straight up and down. Just like this. So it's only about a half movement, but you want to make sure you come all the way down. Get that full stretch on the anterior delt, push up. So same thing on the other side. As you can see, I take it, I lean into it, get it even, push it straight up.
So the leaning is really the key.
The leaning is the key, because if you're here, your arm's going to start to adduct to the outside, plus also it puts a lot of strain on the shoulder. Get under it, even it out. Get that plane of motion,
arm right
even
in
with the
front
dumbbell.
of you. Yeah.
And you'll push, and you will feel, if you put your fingers here, like I said, you can really feel a tight contraction right there. So, like I said, for guys like me who have very well developed chest, like I said, the anterior deltoid can get buried back there and it won't look as full as maybe it is. So you need to bring it out so it can even out with the chest, and that'll look better in all your poses, especially when you're at maximum definition levels.
Awesome.
Okay guys, so we're continuing our discussion on training the deltoids, and I'm going to do another movement that focuses again also on the interior deltoids, and it's going to be a barbell front raise. Now normally when you do front raises, this would be the motion. Overhand grip, standing straight, and lifting straight out. That's a good movement for the anterior delts, no doubt about it. You can do it with dumbbells as well. However, if you want to get a more direct hit on the anterior deltoids, isolating this away from the medial deltoids more, to really push them out, get them further in front of the chest, what you want to do is you want to reverse your hands on the bar. So you're using an underhand grip, about shoulder width apart, but it's not as simple as that. Dave's going to show you as I do the movement that I'm not going to be lifting the bar just straight up. I'm going to be lifting it up and out, almost as if I'm trying to hand it to somebody in front of me. Also, another thing that people do when they do the reverse grip is they bend the arms too much and they're kind of doing this.
Like a curl.
And it's almost, that's first of all going to engage a lot of bicep, of course, because it's going to be contracted the whole time to support the arm that way. Yes, you're going to get some anterior deltoid, but we're not looking to get some anterior deltoid. We want to maximize, every exercise that we do, we're looking to maximize the effect on the target muscle. So that's what I'm trying to show you how to do. So I'm going to demonstrate how to do this anterior front raise with the hands reversed. Take about a shoulder width grip on the bar. I suggest that you not stand up completely straight, you lean into it a little bit. If you lean into it a little bit, you're going to get a better contraction at the top. And watch how I do this. I'm going to raise it up and out. Up and out, like I'm handing it to somebody. So it's not just doing this. You're going to be doing this. Up, like here, here's the bar. Handing to somebody at shoulder high. You only want to lift to about shoulder height, otherwise you'll start to engage too much trapezius. Try to keep the arms almost straight, just a slight bend in the elbow. Do the movement under control. Stop at the top, squeeze, and down. Stop, and out, and down. Again, not an exercise that you want to use a tremendous amount of weight. It's more of a finesse exercise. But when you do that exercise and you put the bar down, you're going to feel a flood of blood and lactic acid into this part of the muscle. And again, as I'm trying to teach you guys who maybe don't have this part developed as well as the other parts of the deltoids, this will help to give you that roundness in front and a more 3D effect to the front of your body. Okay, so the final exercise I want to show you today for the delts is, this is an interesting exercise because it doesn't really hit, it's really hard to almost place where this hits on the delts. It's almost like you have to put your hand there and feel it. But what we're doing is we're doing a side lateral movement, but it's nothing like a traditional side lateral, which is basically with the hand facing in towards the leg, raising it out straight out to the side, and basically trying to hit the medial deltoid as much as possible. What we're going to be doing when we do this is actually be taking the hand from here and we're going to be turning it this way. So the thumb is now facing into the leg, and we're going to be doing a side lateral from here. You'll see how I do it with both dumbbells. We're going to be raising out this way, keeping the hand in this position. We're not turning it all. Now what this does is it engages the rear delt and engages pretty much down here at the bottom of the trapezius. So again, this is not an exercise that, you know, a teenager should be doing or a beginner should be doing where they're trying to build mass in the beginning. This is more of a finesse movement where the bodybuilder is looking to build a contest-ready physique. They're trying to get those finer details in the muscle.
Filling the holes.
Yeah, filling, like I love to say fill in the holes. Charles Glass has used that term before. We all like to say fill in the holes because everybody's physique has holes or little places where they look like they're maximally developed, but the trained eye of a coach or a judge can look and say you're missing a little bit here and there. So we try to just find those exercises. That's what I like to do. I try to find those exercises, and I do this. It's like I go into my lab, which is the gym, and I play with the angles of the dumbbells and the machines, and I try to find exercises until I go, voila, I've got that spot that I want to hit. So this is a great exercise to do. And let me show you how to do it first, and I'll talk a little bit more about it. Okay, so I'm going to go from here to here. I'm going to start right here, the side to the side. You don't want to start in front, you don't want to start in back. This is your starting position right here. Standing up straight, I'm going to lift straight out to the side. as you can see, I can't come up. Right? This is as high as I can come up. I can't, if I try to force these up any higher, I'm gonna lose the motion. This is the whole motion right here until you can get a squeeze at the top.
It's a very short movement.
It's a short motion, but believe me, you're gonna feel that squeeze right there. You're gonna feel how the rear delt and the lower trap squeezes right at the top. Squeeze out. Again, don't try to go heavy in this movement, otherwise you're not gonna move the dumbbells at all. So squeeze out, and don't let those hands, a lot of people when they do this movement, when I teach it to them, the hands start to turn as they get tired. Keep it here. And go all the way to the end of the movement. So if at the end you're only going this high, just get a couple of reps this high. So squeeze, down, squeeze, down. Now even myself, just from doing those little reps there with the 10-pound dumbbells, I felt the pump right here in the trapezius, down into this part of the delt here. So that's great for competitors who have to do back double bicep shots, twisting back shots. Anything that you could do to bring out those little muscle groups when you're very defined and you're under 5% body fat to show the judges something different, these are the kinds of movements that can give your body another dimension to what it normally has and set you apart from the other competitors. So give those a shot. You can put them either in a deltoid workout. You can also put them in a back workout because some people like to train back and trap, so they'll also fit there. Dave and I, when we train back, a lot of times we do back traps and rear delts, and we could throw this movement in there. But if you don't train that way, you could also throw it in a deltoid workout. But give it a shot. It's an excellent movement. It's something very different from anything you've ever tried.
Cool. All right, Big E. So cool little tips on shoulders today.
Yeah. I think that was a good show, and hopefully that'll help some of the competitors out there getting ready for the new season, build a little extra dimension to their physique. I know that we're going to do that with you.
Yeah, these are kind of cool, and those are guys. Just so you know, those are some exercises that Eric throws in at us when we train, like, you know, out of the blue and new things, you know. So I'm always like, oh, I gotta write those down because by the time it's time to shoot, I always forget what it is. So that's what I did today, and I'm glad we did it.
Yeah, because every once in a while, you know, again, luckily I get to work with you in person, and so, you know, I get to look at your physique and see what you need in person right in front of me. So that's why sometimes those exercises will come to me and I'll say I need to throw these in today, and then plus, you know, it's always good for the show. I know that I'm going to throw something in, and I want to see if you're going to catch it and go, hey, that's a good one for the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I love showing those new movements and showing different ways to hit the. I love, you know, getting away from just the basics that people do every single day, and it gets kind of boring, you know. And also, we all want to reach our genetic potential, and I sometimes think that you have to force, you know, reaching your genetic potential, and there's ways to hit the muscle that people aren't used to hitting. You gotta break out of that same routine.
Think outside the box, yeah. Exactly.
So I had fun showing those exercises. I hope you guys love them.
Okay. So what do you want to talk about today? You've been getting some questions since the last show, which, by the way, you guys, I just want to say that I'm so shocked in a good way about the response from that show. I was hesitant to do it. I didn't want to really do a show about myself, but really it wasn't about myself. It was about the journey, you know, with Eric and his help over the last. That's kind of why I agreed to do it. But I just felt that show was mostly about me, and I don't really like doing it. But I'm so surprised of all the hits and all the feedback we've been getting from you guys, and it's probably going to be one of our most popular shows. So I'm shocked, but thank you regardless. So, what are some of the questions you guys?
Well, yeah, I mean, and it's true. I know that you were hesitant to do it, and for you people out there, Dave is not the kind of guy who likes to be in front of the camera. He likes to be behind the camera. So doing anything that has to do with him, he likes to shy away from. But we both thought it was important for you guys to see and understand what the journey was like for us this year, because obviously I work with Dave. Obviously I have, probably 40, 50 people that I work with throughout the year, but I was working most closely with Dave, and we had quite a journey together, 5 shows, and we really did something very, very special together, and we just wanted to share it with you guys, and we got such a response. I think we hit 1,000 views on that video faster than we hit with any other video we've ever done, and that's just a testament to the fact that you guys are out there watching and appreciating what we're doing, and we thank you for that. And trust me, we got a lot more coming for you in 2016. But the funny thing about that show is, and I guess it's kind of a good thing, is that it brought about probably about a dozen questions from people that I received privately. Nobody would put it on my page, which I appreciate. I do, because, there are certain things that are meant to be put out public, and there's certain things that, should be asked privately, and it was asked privately, so it was done with a lot of respect. Although the questions came in slightly different forms, they all basically said the same thing, so I wanted to address it today. And it has to do with that show, because in the show, obviously, we showed Dave's progress from 2014, what was it, like September?
August. The last show I did before you, it was the Mr. Los Angeles in August 4th, I think.
Okay, so that was 2014.
Yeah.
And a lot of the pictures that we showed, I just picked out, we had a million pictures to choose from, but I just picked out some shots from throughout the year that were about 9 months or so after, which was like our favorite condition that we reached, because we tried different things throughout the year. So anyway, it was less than a year. It was like 9 months progress or something like that. And then I put up something during the week because I went back and I looked at the pictures again, and I put them together and I compared them. And I put them side by side, and that's really when the questions started to go crazy, because Dave was about 207. I'm guessing, I don't know for sure, but maybe 5.56% body fat
36, yeah.
in 2014, and that's what he competed at. And then this year, in 2015, he was literally 223 pounds. And probably about 3 to 3.5% body fat. I'm pretty sure you were taking somewhere around 3. And that, so when you're talking about a 16-pound gain in body weight plus about a 2 to 2.5% loss in body fat, you're probably talking about 25 pounds of muscle. So the basic question that people were saying to me was, and they said this again with no disrespect, they said, listen, it's unbelievable what you did with Dave. He's a completely new guy, but he's 43, he's not 23, and we all know that obviously as you get older, no matter what it is you do, gains are going to come a lot slower. Like for example, as good as Dexter Jackson still looks now, the guy's amazing, he's 45 and still winning Arnold Classics. He's not making big progress over, not like when he was younger and went from like a bantamweight to a super heavyweight. I mean, that gains don't happen. Now he's just trying to refine himself. So how did Dave put on all this muscle? They had trouble believing that the only difference was in the training and the diet. And they started saying, was it his supplementation program? Was there something different there, that you could tell us about, privately? You could tell me, buddy, I know you. And I'll be perfectly, I'm going to be 100% honest. Not only did, and I know, Dave has told me from the beginning, because I need to know from everybody, whether if I'm working with a guy who's drug-free or if I'm working with a guy who uses, I need to know what they take, because it helps me form their program, because everybody has their own protocol or whatever. And he told me what he usually takes. He actually took, Dave, less supplements this year than you did in past years.
Absolutely.
And also, I should say that we've been in the game for 25 years. We work around some of the best bodybuilders in the world. We're in Gold's Venice. We know everybody. We know what people take, and we know that your supplements, what you take is probably less than some females use, because it's really nothing. It's really, really very, very little.
I saved so much money this year. I saved so much money.
Well, I think the key is that you were seeing, what was happening without having to use stuff that you had to use in the past, and your body was changing so quickly. So my point, I'll make a couple of points here. The first thing is that no, Dave did not use anything special, nothing magical, no big, no new esoteric.
No, nothing new, and I never claimed to be natural, by the way, in the past. When I was competing, if someone that I knew asked me, I would be truthful. So it's not that nothing has changed as far as increase in what I took or none of that stuff.
No, you took the very basics, and I was actually surprised to know how little you took. And also, there's also a whole other class of performance-enhancing drugs that you don't even take or even touch, that almost everybody else does take. So you were literally on the minimal of anything. So the point is that no, it had nothing to do with anything but training and diet 100%. So I basically want to just say that for those that...
It's a fair question.
It's a fair question, and I believe me, trust me, when I looked at the pictures side by side, that I put up the pictures, I actually called you like at 11 o'clock at night, and I was like, Dave, you got to see this collage I just made. I said, I didn't even realize side by side how much different you look. You look like two different humans. You look like somebody that's what they look like when they were 20, and now you're 28, and like 8 years later you blew up into this other guy. I mean, it was unbelievable to even me. And all we did this year was I taught you how to train. I used my power rep and shock training system. I used my fiber damage, fiber saturation training system. Later on, I brought in the FTX2 system. I started working with you first on that. And it was a complete 180 from anything that you've ever done before. Am I right? I mean, is it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, there was every single thing that we do, every exercise, every rep scheme, every tempo change, everything that we do has a purpose. There's nothing wasted. There's nothing that's haphazard. Everything is controlled. We do not do... You guys are going to find this really hard to believe, and you're going to think that this is crazy. We do about 8 to 9 working sets per body part.
That's true.
That's it.
No more than 2 working sets.
2 working sets per exercise.
Yeah, rarely more.
4 exercises.
Yeah.
That's it, except for the warm-ups. And the warm-ups are true warm-ups. They're not like build-up sets. They're actually really just warm-ups, and then we go right to our first set. So there was no, 20 sets per body part, 25 sets per body part. Everything that we do, like I said, is meticulous and controlled and has a purpose. Then also, I took Dave's diet, and I changed it. I took away, I changed it from what you traditionally thought was needed or how certain things had to work. I took the carbs out from the pre-training meal. Yeah. I put more carbs in the first meal and the post-training meal. I wouldn't combine fats and carbs. Yeah. And you just listened to me blindly and said, hey, let me see. And you were not sure, because it went against tradition, a lot of the stuff, the tradition myth of bodybuilding, but you were amazed to see, oh my god, my energy is fantastic, I don't need carbs to train on right before I train. Right. And your body fat started coming down because you started utilizing body fat while you train. So
we look back at pictures, we were mentioning pictures, and before Jay's show in April 4th, I think, I was actually shredded 5 weeks before.
Yes.
So even though I had 17 weeks, I was pretty much ready 5 weeks before.
Exactly, you were. And that was one of my goals for the beginning, is I wanted to get you as ripped as possible quickly, and then have time to sort of play with peaking you for the show. And then that pretty much continued throughout the year. But
I think personally that the diet is what hit me first. And as good as I looked for the first show last year at the Jay Cutler Classic, the training really, paid off as time went on, because you can see from show to show that the condition, may vary a tad, based on what kind of look we were trying to achieve, but the muscle and the holes were getting filled more and more as we went on, right? Because of the training. Yeah,
and that's the point. I mean, not only, the things that changed, mostly about your training is that full range of motion on every single exercise. Focus on, and like, you guys have watched the show enough to know that our tempos change. Sometimes I hold the stretch longer, sometimes I hold the contraction longer, sometimes the reps are a little slower, a little faster. It all has a purpose. But the key is that you're working in full range of motion, and you're truly focusing on the action of the muscle from beginning to end of rep. There's no wasting anywhere. Every rep of every set, I always say that sometimes when we're training, I'll say every rep is a set. So it's not just, don't think of the whole set, think of every rep individually as a set. That's how much you're going to put into every rep. So that's why we only need to do 8 or 9 working sets per body part to get the results that we get. Plus, we also add in exercises that you've never done before, filling in the holes, changing angles. Sometimes we'll do, if we're doing barbell curls and we happen to be doing 3 sets, say, I'll have you switch your grip from set to set. Yeah. Sometimes we're doing leg presses, and sometimes we're doing with the body angled one way, the feet angled another way. Everything that we do has a purpose. So the point of me answering this question this way is not to blow my own horn or to, say, oh, I'm this great trainer. The point that I really want to get across is that if you're Dave, I myself, I don't have great genetics. I was born the skinniest guy you could possibly be. I'm the last person in the world that anybody would have thought could have ever built a championship physique. Dave doesn't have genetics like through the roof.
I thought I sucked all these years.
Yeah, I mean, and we're taking body parts like arms and legs, which were literally way behind the rest of his body, and now I'm showing him how to build them. So the point is that don't be disgusted by your genetics. Don't use the excuse of I don't have the right supplements, or I don't have the right drugs, or I don't use enough for it. You can, and also don't use age. Don't say, well, now I'm 40, so I can't make any gains anymore.
It's too late for me. Yeah.
Dave made a gain of about 25 pounds of pure muscle throughout the year. We dieted the whole year. His body fat has pretty much never gone back up. He's been in contest shape for a year straight. As he sits here now, he's in contest shape, and he's making gains. So it is very possible to make gains when your body fat is low. It is very possible to make significant gains when you're a little older. And you don't need all kinds of drugs. You don't need, to have the best genetics in the world. You just need to work hard, and you need to work smart, and put both of those together. Because you can work hard and not smart and not get anywhere. Because I know Dave's.
That's what I used to do. Yeah.
Dave and a million other people. James, who we have on the show all the time. Even guys like Mark Durando and all these guys that we've had on the show. They were busting their asses all these years. They weren't just sitting there being lazy,
right.
But they weren't doing it correctly. So if you can combine the willingness and the discipline to bust your ass and do it right,
then it's really fun.
You could do such significant things that you never thought you could do before, and that's why Dave, James, some of these other guys that I train who've been doing it for a long time, they feel resurrected. They feel
John, my friend John, who came on the show also.
John Kaler, as well.
He's trained for 20 years. He says the fire's back now because he's seeing, how quickly things change, how fun it is, how it's like restarting all over again.
Yeah, I mean, and that, you start to think that you're winding down. I mean, even you said to me, you were thinking, I'll compete every once in a while just because as a hobby, like I enjoy it.
Well, because I'll get too fat otherwise.
Right.
I used to just keep it as a motivation.
Helps you keep yourself in shape.
Yeah.
And that I totally, that's perfectly cool. But now we have eyes set on something completely different. We've gone from just like, I'll stay in shape, I want to compete every once in a while, to let's go for the pros. So it's a great thing, and it's just, I got the question so many times, and I just want to let you guys know, and I'm telling the absolute truth. Dave will tell you the same thing. You can ask him, you can write to him and ask him exactly what you want, and he will tell you the same thing. Has nothing to do with anything but the diet and the training, working hard, and again, he also stuck to my program to a T, never questioned anything, carries all his meals around. He does the work. You have to do the work. There's no room to be lazy, and that's part of the reason why he got where he did. But for the first time in his life, he's training hard and training smart and eating smart, and that's why it happened. No other reason, no special drug, no esoteric something that came from another country that they brought in here, nothing. And not a lot either. I mean, he's healthy, walking around, feeling good all the time, no problems, no side effects. Because he built the body through hard work.
How many, just on a side note, how many friends requests and messages have you been receiving since we put those pictures up in the show?
Since the show,
I think it's
the last BBL Barbell went up, and then I put up the little collage. I got probably about 20 to 25 friend requests
so funny.
From bodybuilders, and now some of them are starting to talk to me and talk to you, and saying,
people have competed against.
Yeah, people you've competed against, and saying,
cool.
So Merlin's the real deal, huh? Should I contact him? And
so I just sent him the picture, the before and after. Like, okay.
Yeah, and then they just so that's awesome. That's great. But forget about, not even for guys who work with me, because obviously there's 80 million people out there in the gyms that I'm not going to work with. I just want you guys to know that it can be done. That most of this comes from, don't think because you're not a Phil Heath genetic freak or a Jay Cutler genetic freak that you can't build an amazing body. You can. Yeah. And don't think because you are drug-free or not taking or whatever older, it is, whether you're drug-free or not drug-free, whatever, just know how important the training and the diet is. That is the key.
It's everything.
That is the key. And then if you have great genetics, that's even better. And if you, and you, whatever. But that's the key, and you can do it at any age.
Thanks, E.